shit's going to happen the way it's going to happen one way or the other, whether you lead up to it with diarrhea or being stoked. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, I've had enough fucking diarrhea.
Choose hope. Stop diarrhea. Should we make t-shirts?
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. I'm sick of the rain.
It's been pouring rain there, and you've been so busy because I feel like every time I see you, you're out in the rain, like outdoors. So
I've been out in that rain.
Oh, no.
I'm eating matzo ball soup. I was like, I know you guys hate it when I eat. I'll just do it off mic. But also I felt like soup. I'm just going to drink it. It's mostly broth. There's not even chicken in this one. It's just like a lot of, wait, is that fennel?
Dill, I believe.
Fennel. Dill. How did you know?
Yes. Because that's usually, dill and fennel, their little fronds look similar.
They look the same.
But dill is what is traditionally, I make a good matzo ball soup for a shiksa.
Listen, I'll tell you something. Mark does not like this one, but it's my favorite one because it has so much dill in it, and I love it.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. It's delicious. But it's been raining. It's been weird. It's been so annoying. But it's been a lot's going on.
Yeah.
There's been a lot.
I'm not going to say I've had a lot, but I've had a couple things. Couple things going on this week.
You got your shots, yeah?
Got my shots. Mm-hmm. Did feel very...
Yeah, how'd you feel?
I got some in one arm and one in another. I don't know which was which, but the arm where I got one, that was the sorest. So whatever shot that was, I hate you. I want to find out who you are and why you wanted to hurt me.
Wait, how come you don't know? I always ask.
Oh, I just didn't ask what was going in where because I assumed she was taking it down, and if there was any kind of emergency, she would have.
You'd be able to find out. You'd be able to find out.
And let's be honest, I've never had a shot emergency, and I get shots a lot. So,
yeah, well, good. I'm glad you've never had. Thank God. Thank God for the small things.
I was so blasé about getting a shot, but yeah. But there was that, and then any of you who are friends with my husband on Instagram, I know some of you are, you'll know about what happened to him, that poor guy.
Wait, I am, but I got to be honest with you. Because of the, because I think of the last month and a half of my life, most of my Instagram feed at this point are just memes.
Oh, you've trained the algorithm that you want memes only.
Yeah, because I think in my sort of sadness or, melancholy state, I sort of just want cats that are saying funny things or...
Yeah, it's like eating junk food. Sometimes you just have to.
100%. A little bit I'm getting to the point where I'm over it, but...
Yeah.
So I didn't see Matt's post, so this is news to me.
Okay. Well, if it wasn't such a story or if it didn't have to be explained, I think it's almost as funny as a meme. And thank God he had a good sense of humor about it. But a long time ago, we were on a trip and he was sitting by the window in his little underwears, only wearing his little underwear, looking at his phone. And he looked so cute that I took a picture of him. And I made it his photo on his contact in my phone, and it's labeled husband. And so when I want to text him or call him, I just type in husband, and it goes to him. And that's fine. I don't even know that he was aware that that was his ID picture on my phone.
Did you do the update of the phone?
I guess, yeah. But what had happened was the other day, a colleague of his from work went to text him about a movie because I guess they talked about movies at work. And he was like, hey, amigo, I just went to find you in my contacts and this is your profile picture. I just wanted to give you a heads up. And it was the underwear picture. Mm-hmm. And it was also labeled husband, but also my husband's name. How did this happen?
I'm not an expert. But the new, did you guys both do the update?
Maybe. I mean,
you'd either know or you wouldn't, because the update thing is weird. And then when you call someone, your thing is so huge. Do you it's huge now. Like your picture is huge.
Got it.
And it I don't know. It feels like I told Mark he had to change his because I was like, especially if you date someone, you can't have it because his is you guys, it's okay. I'm just going to, Mark, I'm sorry. I know you listen to the podcast, but I was like, you gotta if you're going to start dating, you cannot be calling or texting ladies and have your emoji or your avatar or your picture or whatever that pops up is
right.
It's one of those AI generated, look, Casey, look.
Oh, it's an AI generated fantasy picture of Mark.
It's a fantasy.
If he was texting a lady, it would look he was trying to
be real,
put
suave.
a fantasy in her mind.
Yeah, it just was I was
that is hilarious.
No,
oh my God, I don't think I did do the update then because mine aren't huge like that. I still have the old school, it looks like an address book. Okay.
So then I actually don't have any fucking idea because, I don't know anything about stuff anyway, phone stuff
I'll have to ask Janie Haddad Tompkins because she's the only one that is ever able to straighten out any type of technological mystery that I've ever had. But here's what I also think. I also just think every once in a while some shit like that happens so that your phone is just to remind you that I'm the boss of you and I could ruin your life if I wanted to.
So did you change his picture?
I immediately deleted the photo. I don't know if that then updates. This could be on all of my husband's colleagues' phones for all I know, or just this one person. I don't know how it got on this one person's phone.
Did he update? Did he do the update? I don't know. All I'm saying is that weird stuff with that update happened. That's all I know.
I don't know.
Because for one, Mark did the update first, and literally in 2 hours, I kept getting notifications from that his profile had changed or his profile picture had changed or something. And I was like, what is this? I don't even understand. But we are on a family sharing plan, which I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, we are.
So there might be something, it might be something to do with that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But to Matthew's credit, he laughed about it, and the first thing he did was just put it on Instagram. He put the text from his colleague and the photo itself, just put it on Instagram to be well, it's out there, so you might as well all see it. And a lot of people said it was a nice photo, so, I
mean, I'm looking now. I'm just obviously, I got to see what's going on here.
That poor guy. But I am sorry. I'm sorry that my thirstiness put him in that position.
Well, I don't even know if we need to call it thirstiness. I mean, it's just you're being kind of cute.
Yeah, it was cute. I like my guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's a fine thing to do if your lover is to save your lover in your phone book like that. Oh, that is really fucking weird. What?
I could see even if it was somebody that I directly communicated with, but I don't talk to this person.
This is fucking hilarious. Oh my God. Oh, poor Matt. I mean, that is really actually horrifying. I'm glad his friend was cool and it wasn't a lady.
Yes, that would have been really just horrible because it
that
just
would
would
have
have
been-
felt creepy. Even
Yeah,
though,
and like I don't even know like how you would even be able to
Apologize.
like to like some lady you worked with. But I don't know, guys. If anyone out there is well versed, knows how that could have happened, hit Casey up. Let her know what you think. That's really weird and really like really honestly really funny. I mean, I've told you about Emily. Like, well, maybe I shouldn't even put this out there because maybe my would-be attackers would listen to the podcast as research. But you know what I have Emily in my phone under.
what?
Have we ever talked about this on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. This is so... You guys, you have to understand something. After I started talking... And by the way, I love that we have a guest today, Rana from MoveOn.org, who's talking to us about book bans and like what we can all do to show up. And but you know, after I started talking publicly about my abortion, the death threats really increased.
They rolled in.
It's kind of, you know, it's not that let me be real. It's not the chillest experience one can have.
Right.
And around that time, or like right before, there had been a horrific story about a couple, totally unrelated to abortion rights, guys, but like it was about money. A couple that had been held hostage in their home and then murdered and robbed and murdered.
Right.
But however, they had like a whole timeline of what happened. And in the timeline, it was like getting to be like the morning time. And she was like, our housekeeper is going to show up. If you don't want another person showing up here, you need to let me text her to tell her not to come.
Right.
And so the horrible people did. And they texted their housekeeper not to show up. Okay. And she didn't. And then later was like, oh my God, I didn't know. Right, obviously.
Right.
So anyway, I was very disturbed by all of this. And so I changed Emily's name in my phone to housekeeper.
That's really smart.
So because I thought, and I told, obviously she knows.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I ever call you and I say, hey, you don't need to clean my house this week. Or if I ever text you, you don't need to,
911.
bad shit is happening.
Right.
You have to get help.
Right. That's really smart.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit like paranoid and a little wild, but also I just was like, why the fuck not? But it is pretty funny sometimes, like because when she calls, it just pops up housekeeper.
And you're like, why is the housekeeper calling?
Yeah. Yeah. But more than that, like if I'm in my car and someone else is in the car and like they can see it, they're like,
Yeah.
huh? Isn't that your best friend, Emily? Yes, it is. And then I have to go through the whole story again.
Right. Right.
But I don't know, guys, don't tell anyone that wants to murder me this, okay? Because guys, let's just keep
Don't
it here.
share this information.
Guys, and I'm serious. I swear to God, if I see this picked up anywhere online, I'm going to be so fucking pissed.
There's so
really
many good things on this podcast that never get put online. So we're telling you, leave this one offline.
Speaking of which, I got an inquiry from the New York Times because they were like, oh, you know, with the recent spate of, did I use that word right? Yes.
Yeah.
With the recent spate of celebrity divorce announcements, the style section, we're doing an article about it, blah, 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 like the whatever, public announcements. And your client, Busy Phillips, never, and her ex-husband, never made a public statement. They eschewed it. I was wondering if she would want to get on the phone and give a quote about it. And I was like, well, that's sort of just, I feel like that defeats the purpose. Yeah,
Do you want to do some publicity about your divorce that you didn't want to publicize?
Interesting. Let me think about it. No, but like it was funny just because I thought, well, first of all, like if that line, how was that not clear that like that we didn't want to really like publicly.
Right.
And then the other thing was that like we just wanted to talk about it on the podcast because it was a more nuanced conversation for us than some like bullshit statement.
Right.
And that was just how we felt the most comfortable after we had discussed it and whatever. Anyway, it did make both of us kind of lol last week. And I was like,
They were hoping you had a change of heart.
I mean, the truth is, like, I don't think you need to talk to anyone to know that, like, 90% of the time, those, like, it's just all bullshit, you know?
Right.
It's not like anyone's going to be like, Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner are currently not fucking speaking. She is real pissed. Yeah, they have kids.
She's furious. He broke a dish.
Right. Like, whatever. It's not going to be. And by the way, I haven't been following it too closely, but truly, Team Sophie. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the fuck is happening, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm on her side.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone's gonna like vilify a woman because she has a fucking job and is trying or going out to dinner with her friends. Get the fuck out of here. I'm done with you, Joe Jonas. I'm sorry. Next time I see you at Hugo's in West Hollywood, I'm going to keep walking just like I would have before this. But I'm like, so that shit seems so crazy. But I just mean that like, we know that like 90% of the time people put these statements out and even just like people that aren't famous doing those like it's like
people do it all the time on social media, and I'm like,
weird.
oh, you think you have to do this now, and you don't.
You
like,
don't.
I have a couple friends, but one friend in particular, like a social media friend who I don't see in person a real lot, and I have honestly wanted to send her like a bottle of champagne or something, because at some point over the past years of the pandemic, whatever, she and her husband got divorced. She started dating a new guy, and she never mentioned a fucking thing, and she just kept it moving. You know, she never mentioned a thing.
I feel like I'm keeping it moving, and like I'll like drop a line or two in an Instagram caption.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's just wild to me where people are like, what? They're split up? What happened?
Something. Somebody please explain to me what's going on.
Or they're like, I knew it. And it's like, bitch, welcome to 2021. You know what I mean?
Too.
Like, no, I mean like it's been like almost 3 years.
It's so
like,
weird.
I'm just like, who cares? Also, why is everybody fucking up in everybody's business all the time? Who cares? And like I ran into a friend of mine who is an actress and has she's also like has ended her marriage.
Yeah.
And she was like, I've been wanting to reach out to you, but like I didn't know if you guys were, and I did like a quick Google. I couldn't really find anything. And I was like, that is hilarious. You could have totally just reached out to me. And she's like, I love the way that you guys did that. That's so smart. And like, da, 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 da. And I was like, it just didn't seem like a thing that we needed to make. Okay. I mean, and then I know, like, I remember seeing some sort of like acquaintance-ish people posting things about like trying to figure out if people are still together or not. And I felt like back like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was very pointedly to me, sort of.
Ugh. Yeah, sure.
And then that made me like even double down and be like, oh, I'm never, unless you listen to all 3 hours of this fucking podcast, absolutely, you're never gonna fucking know for sure.
That is hilarious.
Bass. I'm packing for a little trip I'm taking. And you know what I'm packing in?
I know you're packing in your base.
Always. Always. You guys, listen, whether it's like a 2-night trip, which is basically like what I'm doing. I'm just going, it seems extravagant. I agree. I know. But it's just a couple nights in Sweden just to see my kid's face.
Yeah.
Give her a little snuggle.
And so you're taking the base overnighter?
I am taking the overnighter. It's because also, to be honest, I have to check a bag that's all of Birdie's stuff that she left.
Right.
There's not a ton of space for me. And I don't want to check more than one bag because I'm traveling by myself, blah, 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 blah. But the overnighter bag is just the best because I can have a little rolly carry-on and then my little rolly base carry-on. And then the overnighter like slides right over the top of it. So it's not like flopping all over when I'm going through the airport.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean. Guys,
Yes.
you know what I mean.
It just has everything, so many compartments, and I never lose anything in there, which is always something that's so important to me because if I'm losing things in a bag and panicking at the airport, it's not cute.
I agree. I know it isn't because I feel the same about myself. You know, and I love that they have vegan leather details. You know, we're just obsessed. Shay Mitchell, actress Shay Mitchell. Listen.
She came up with it.
Real
And we're not
talk.
alone loving it. Base has over 30,000 5-star reviews. So
No, it's huge. I was in a department store that carries Base recently, and people were clamoring. I'm not even kidding you. There were like multiple people like, ooh, ooh, ooh. So guys, whether you're packing for a quick trip or looking to breeze through the security line, Base has your personal items covered. And right now, Base is offering our listeners 15% off your first purchase by visiting basetravel.com/best. That's basetravel.com/best for 15% off your first purchase. That's BEIS travel.com/best. Oh, Blue Land, do you know what it's worth? Casey, did you know that, I can't. These statistics, I got to tell you something. Guys. Blue Land gives us a couple statistics that make me feel ill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, and it's real and it's like deeply upsetting that we're eating and drinking roughly a credit card's worth of plastic every week.
Yeah. And not a usable credit card. So there's no upside to it.
No upside. Because the products that you use every day are ultimately contaminating our water supply, generating, microplastics that we end up ingesting. Anyway, also 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away each year. 5 what? 5 billion.
Yeah. We have to stop.
We got to stop. Also, most cleaning formulas are 90% water, which is heavy to ship and causes excessive carbon emissions.
Right.
And a lot of the products have really bad ingredients in them. It's not good for us. It's not good for the planet. It's not good for your kids. It's not good for your pets. And that's where Blue Land comes in because they're on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet. The idea is very simple. Endlessly refillable cleaning products with a very chic, cohesive design, glass containers that look great on your counter. You fill the bottles with water, drop in the tablets, wait for them to dissolve. It's so easy. It literally, like, once you do it, you're like, oh gosh, wow, what have we been doing? What have we been doing?
Yeah, the products work really well and they smell great. So there's no compromise on that.
And they've got cleaning sprays, hand soap, toilet bowl cleaner, which I'm obsessed with.
Yes.
Laundry tablets. All Blue Land products are made with clean ingredients that you can feel good about. And I personally, just once I made the switch, I was kind of one of those people that was a little bit brainwashed by, advertising from television from when I was a kid.
Right,
thinking
right.
that, like, the only thing that would ever work were name brand products or whatever.
Right.
And turns out that's just not true. Blue Land's products work so well.
Yeah. And they don't take up a lot of space in your home if you're,
Exactly.
stocking up. And refills start at just $2.25, which is a lot cheaper than buying a fresh bottle of whatever you saw someone on TikTok saying you should buy.
And also like a lot lighter
Yes.
to carry because you're not like lugging with your groceries and your Target run. Like you also aren't then additionally having to lug a bunch of heavy bottles filled with mostly water. Anyway, guys, highly recommend Blue Land. We love them. Love them. And Blue Land has a special offer for our listeners right now. Get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/best. You don't want to miss it. blueland.com/best for 15% off. That's blueland.com/best to get 15% off. Go do it. I don't know. I guess I care less about people who I don't know's relationships than most people.
Yeah.
I care about the people that I know and their relationships and like want to make sure everybody's good and are you happy and are you getting what you need and are they getting what they need and where you at and how you kids and all that shit. But like just like people that I like sort of passively know, not really friends with, I don't fucking care if they're still married or they're divorced or if they ever got married. I don't know.
If it's not somebody that you talk to on a day-to-day basis, how does it affect anything? Because your friendship isn't deep enough to need to talk about those things. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, so we had a friend from college who we were good friends with, but we were also like young and living our lives and very busy in our respective cities. And we invited him and his wife to our wedding, and he RSVP'd on the RSVP card. That guy's name will be coming with, crossed out his wife's name, wrote another woman's name, and said, I'll explain when I see you if I have time. And it was just that he and his wife had gotten divorced and he was with someone new. And we just hadn't, it had all happened in like 3 months, you know? And that's what it was. And we were like, great, it'll be great to see you and whoever you come with, even if it's a new person that's not even written on this RSVP. We don't care. We love you.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Carrie Bylick had her big 50th birthday party.
I saw. That looked fun.
It was so fun. I said, not since my 40th in Cabo. Truly, has there been such a fucking party for one person? It was the best.
I thought of you the other day because I was searching in my phone, again, phone technology, but I'm always shocked that people don't know you can do this. You can just search in your photos for like someone's name but I searched wedding because I was looking for a photo and your birthday party came up.
Perfect. That's actually perfect. Yeah, Carrie's was so fun, but I will say, Carrie, who obviously knows like everything that is going on with me and Mark through the past whatever, 10 years of like
the whole time.
My friendship with her, over 10 years. Oh my God, I've been friends with her for over 10 years. She did reach out to me and say like, hey, is it weird? It's going to be a big party. Do you want to just have this night on your own without Mark there? What, just tell me. I was like, no, it's all good. I think he would like to be invited. I think he would be kind of hurt if he wasn't invited because he really thinks of you as a friend as well. But it's true, you do sort of have like the primary attachment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird, and maybe this is weird of me because I know people have reacted weirdly in the past, but even when people are still married, sometimes I ask my primary friend to what extent they want me to be friendly with their partner.
I totally am in full support of that.
Because I'm like, sometimes maybe you don't want me to be BFFs with your husband. Maybe you don't want him to have that line to me to like know what the fuck you're doing or talking about or whatever.
I totally feel that.
So I'm
because
always
also like, I do think that there's something healthy about having autonomous relationships even when you're in a partnership or a marriage.
Right.
Like continuing to have friendships and relationships with people that are like really yours. They're primarily your relationships,
Exactly.
you know?
And it doesn't mean that it's like secretive or whatever, like you're trying to keep anything from anyone, but it's more like you're trying to keep something for yourself, you know, that just doesn't belong to your spouse or your whole entire family. And of course, I have friends that are like that. And I have, you know, we have couples that we're friends with the couple, and like our kids are adults now. So they're even friends with people that we're friends with, you know, but there are some friends that are just like my friends and they're not really in touch with anyone else in the family.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That makes sense to me. There are also there are all kinds of people have all kinds of attachment styles, right? And like one thing that is kind of great about TikTok
is you know about all these
is that at least we know about all the different kinds of attachment styles at this
my
point. Did I
God.
tell you what Alan informed me that he thinks my sexuality is?
No.
Oh, okay.
Came out to you about your sexuality?
About my sexuality, guys.
Oh,
no.
interesting. Okay.
Not exactly, but he was like, I feel like you might be, because we were talking, I was like, do you know of anyone I could like go out with in New York, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you know what? I kind of feel like you might be busy. I feel like you might be demisexual.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
I feel like I've heard of it, but please explain so I don't misspeak.
So demisexual is a person who has who does not have like one of the primary sources of attraction toward another person. So like seeing someone and wanting to fuck them,
Yeah.
smelling someone and wanting to fuck them.
Okay.
When you're demisexual, you have to first have a deep emotional bond or friendship with the person before you want to get it on.
Okay.
And your like level of being turned on is also kind of dependent on how emotionally connected you feel.
Okay. And how did you feel about that?
He wasn't being like, he was just being like, you might be have you ever heard of this expression or this term or this term? Not expression. It has a flag. I feel like it really resonates with me because I've never been a person who can like, no, I feel like it's actually, I'm just going to take it back. It's totally what I am. It is like 175,000%
Right.
what she is. Yeah. It's 100% correct. And I've never known that was actually like I could sort of, I sort of would have been able to like verbalize it, I guess, if really like if I got down to it, but I've never, but honestly, I just never have. I didn't even know it was like sort of a thing. And because like one night stands, like people who can like be, you know, like fuck whoever, like has always been truly mind-boggling to me, like in a way that's like, it's not just that I'm like prude. I'm not a prude, but it like honestly feels like terrifying. Like I can't even imagine it. Like I can't.
Right.
It's not for her. Like it is just, and even like that's also why I think like being set up feels terrible to me.
Right.
Like all of those things, because my attraction or like lack of attraction for somebody like really develops over a long period of time. And when I look like historically speaking at all of the like meaningful relationships I've had and people that I've been with, there's been at the beginning, before anything else happened,
Right.
like a crazy emotional connection, time spent together, and like friendship that happens first.
Which makes sense because that is something that also happens for performers. Like that's the nature of, you know, you sort of, it's not trauma bonding, but there's like intense bonding because you spend so much intense time together. You know, those are the kind of friendships and relationships that performers generally form. Yeah.
That's very true.
And it's interesting you should say that too, because I've also seen you, like I've seen what I would consider like really attractive guys pay attention to you in a way that shows interest. And it's always funny
No.
to me.
When? Where? Who? Ever.
I'm not going to
Never.
name names, but I have one really specific time in mind. And you are like weirdly oblivious to it in a way where I think it would make a lot of women flustered in my experience or like flattered or whatever. You really never evaluate it in that way. You're always like, well, here's why I don't like that guy. Like, here's, like, sometimes it's easy to say you don't like the personality of a guy who's not interested in you, but sometimes as soon as he shows some interest, then you're like, oh, I like that part of his personality that he likes me. But I've never seen you do that. You're like, oh no, like that guy, who cares?
No, I swear to God. And this is also why, like, I've said a thing since being single, which is unfair, which is that I don't like attractive guys, which is like, that's unfair because first of all, Mark is like, an attractive person.
Yeah.
I've had attractive boyfriends in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, like Colin Hanks is like, he's an actor. Like we dated when we were in
what is attractive?
high school.
You know what I mean? It's like by the
College,
nature
not
of
high
the
school, guys.
By the nature of the word, it's personal. It's not objective. Attractive means
I think they're like, I feel like one of the like Chris's, like the one that's the Mr. America or whatever. That's like
Chris Evans, recently married Chris Evans.
Isn't that like a classically, like, wouldn't people say like that's a handsome man?
Yes, like traditional
handsome.
Yeah.
Like I mean, anyway, my point being that I have like said a thing that I think is not true and unfair to the men that I've dated because the truth is it's not the thing that I find attractive.
Right.
It's like what I find attractive is more, it's different.
Right.
And it develops after the first, like after I see what they look like. And like, it's not like I'm not interested. You're right. Cause I'm not interested in someone based on what they look like.
Right.
Even if they're like cute and flirting with me,
right.
It doesn't do it for me.
Right.
It has to be like, maybe it's just trauma bonding. I don't know.
But
No,
anyway, I'm going to put you, put you in my phone as Demi more or less.
Wait, what? I don't get it. Demi
I
more
said
or less?
now I'm going to label you in my phone as Demi more or less. You're more or less Demi.
Demi more or less. That's really funny. Now I get it. That's really stupid and really funny.
Well, that's interesting to know that about yourself. Yeah. Have you been like noticing things since they said that, or have you been?
I mean, no. If anything, it just made me feel sadder. Oh no, I'm gonna cry because I'm like, oh, I really am never gonna like. I know all the people I'm gonna like. You know what I mean? Which is like, of course, we know is not true,
right?
But I'm like, oh, there's no one for me. I'm not gonna. That's not gonna happen. Like, I'm not. Oh fuck, shit. Because the guy that I dated for a long time after my divorce, was somebody that I was really good friends with for a while before that, and someone I knew for a long time. So that was obviously that's like part of the thing. And just sitting here thinking about it, like there's not a person that comes into mind.
Right.
Well, that's like, you know what I mean?
Not to make this about how I was right, but I do feel like we've had a lot of conversations where I have said to you, why don't you just go out trying to be friends with people?
Yes, which I think is what I have to do, obviously.
Right. But it seems like it's a much bigger undertaking than instantly shebang, feeling like you could be with someone on the first date and you probably feel like who has the time or the energy.
Right, because also part of the issue is that I'm not in my 30s or 20s, and there isn't friend group vibes, you know?
Right.
There's I have friends.
Right.
and we can go out to dinner, but it's not like a full friend group where we can all where I'm hanging out with people and there's birthday party. I don't know, man. I'm not everybody's that people have children that are in school. I don't,
Right.
It's just different. It's
a
just
lot.
different to be this age and have like
You're not in school every day with someone. You're
No.
not like
I'm not even
hanging
fucking
out.
working on it. I mean, this is my job, dude.
Right.
We're not
Right.
meeting a lot of men here. You know what I mean?
Well, that's on us, I guess.
Kind of.
We should
we get
invite
Chris
more
Pine
men.
up? No, wait. Which one's the one? Which one's the one that I want to date? Chris Pine?
I like Chris Evans.
stoner.
I bet you like Chris Pine. Yeah,
Yeah, the
he's the
stoner.
one that Harry Styles spit on.
Yeah, I'm into it. I mean, I will say, I find Chris Pine attractive, but I don't know if I got
is
into
attractive.
No, I know, but I don't know if I like got into the same. Like, if I was like at a dinner with him, if I would.
I was
be
going to say,
into it.
knowing you would probably know within the first 5 minutes whether you wanted to keep talking to him.
Yeah.
And if it was a no for you, I feel like you'd be like, I feel like it would not be outside of the realm of possibility to have you talk to Chris Pine, who you find attractive on like an aesthetic level, to have you be like,
I kind
no,
of
I
find his
talked to
vibe, but see, this is what's
Yeah.
weird too. I guess he is definitely like movie star attractive.
Yeah.
but like I find his vibe attractive. Like I'm into his vibe.
what you know of his vibe. If
What,
you ever
what I
met
see of his vibe,
yeah,
what I've like seen from a distance of his vibe, I'm like, that vibe is cool. I'm into the
right.
vibe.
But if you met
it's-
him for 5 minutes and his vibe wasn't like it seemed, I would 100% not be shocked to have you be like, no,
Yeah,
he's not for me.
absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, me neither, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Instead of being like, I'm going to try to make this work because he's so gorgeous and seems great.
Or like I should just fuck him. I could
Right.
never.
You never would.
Never. Could never. I
That's
know.
that's good to know. That's an adventure. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It is interesting. But oh God. But it's hard. It's
Yeah.
fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, Sunday was a month since Kate passed away, and it's so fucking weird. It's just so weird. My therapist said this really amazing thing where she was like, busy. Just go easy on yourself. Like, what do you... And it isn't my strong suit, going easy on myself, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I should be doing this. I can't believe I haven't even started writing my screenplay. Like when I say it out loud right now, it sounds so stupid because I'm like, obviously. Barely
You know
been
what therapists from the 1980s would say? Don't should on yourself.
Don't shut on yourself. I don't know. I just like, yeah, but
Busy, do
I
you
know, but
think you're not the only, you think you're the only person who didn't hear that the strike was over and was like, oh shit, I have to start that screenplay I said I was going to write every day the entire time of this thing? Every single writer. Every single
No,
writer.
I know. And I hate, like, remember, I was like not a fan of people that were super productive creatively during the first COVID lockdown. Like, I
Right.
was like, you know, I know.
What are you supposed to do? You know, I mean, are you gonna just crash through it and write something not feeling it? Or are you gonna like wait for the moment, you know? And listen, I'm all for being gentle on yourself, but I'm also about being accountable to yourself, because sometimes I think we can be so gentle that if we're not careful, we wind up never accomplishing the things that we want to accomplish. And that is not being easy on yourself in another way, because you're not giving yourself the things that in your heart you want, you know? So, but it's about like finding a balance and like finding the moment and running when you feel the moment, you know? So like, I want you to write that screenplay, but I agree. You also have to be gentle on yourself. And like, you also have to take into consideration that a new layer and a new lens has been added to that great idea that you had, which is that it has to do with this friend that you lost. You know, same with me. Like, working on this thing and it has to do with my family. And it has been scary to touch because to touch it is to like put down on paper some things that I haven't even like all the way dealt with yet. And then, you know, to lose my mom adds another layer, another lens to it. And so, you know, it's not easy. I want you to do it. And I believe you will do it.
I think I will too. And for the record, I want you to do it.
I think I will too, but it really has just been like a time of like...
It's been a time.
Yeah, you know? And I still, every time I think of it, I just think of it like recovering from a stomach bug where you're like, I am not ready to eat that yet. And I will
such
be.
Such a good metaphor or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
That's really good. That makes a lot of sense to me, actually, to put it in that way.
You will be, but just not today.
Because I also like, you know, was feeling like, fuck, I really want, like, I want to date too. And like, I was just being really fucking impatient and hard on myself this past few days, like, about everything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing enough to move forward, to do this, to do that. And it's like, okay, so the first part of this year, calendar year, was really dealing with this like heartbreak from the relationship I was in after Mark, you know? And then that like moved into this other place where my friend was so sick. And that became like that and Birdie going to school, like preparing for both of those things. And the strike and like people being out of work and Mark being nervous and scared about his job and life. And then, you know, dropping Birdie at school and then losing Kate like in a week was a lot. Like, and that was just whatever, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense that I haven't found, bonded, started a relationship and written a screenplay and thought about a television show and like, fuck me. And it's just like, ugh. Sometimes I don't know.
These things are all really fraught. You know what I mean? Because to even pursue any of these things is to pursue risk. You
Right,
know?
of course.
It's
Yeah, of course.
Like you're asking for risk and you're inviting the possibility of rejection and disappointment into your life. And it's like, you've had a lot of fucking disappointment, you know? So maybe you
Oh my
are
God, and a
full.
lot of rejection. Let's be real.
Yeah. And so maybe you're full for now. And so maybe the possibility of like even embarking on something that you'll have to fall in love with it and you'll have to envision it coming true to even be able to do the work. And then at that point to invite risk into your life sometimes is hard. And I think that's what keeps us sometimes from doing the things that we know in our hearts we want to do. And does that mean we shouldn't do them? No, obviously not. Obviously not. We can't allow ourselves to be ruled by the fear of what could happen, you know? But does it mean that sometimes you have to like just work up to it until you're ready to eat that? Yeah, sometimes it does.
Well, it's saltines for me.
Strict saltines.
Just for a
now.
little bit longer, maybe. You know, I'm going to Sweden.
I know you're going.
So you
very
know that I
soon.
like in some sort of illness, COVID, like grief fugue state, like at 4 a.m, booked a ticket to Sweden, like a couple, like whenever I had COVID a couple weeks ago. because I just was like having all of these like, just, I mean, almost like hallucinations or whatever of like Birdie as a baby and like, just, I don't know. I was just like going through it, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to go for the weekend to Sweden. And now when I say it out loud, it sounds so absolutely ludicrous. I'm like, I'm flying to Sweden for the weekend. But I am flying to Sweden for the weekend. Because,
That's great.
you know what? She only has the weekend off school. I don't need to fucking hang out there,
Right.
you know, if I'm not with her.
Yeah.
So I'm going Thursday. I land early Friday morning. We're like excusing her from the day of school because the only thing that she had was like a thing on Thursday, like a big thing is due on Thursday. So she doesn't have much on Friday anyway. So I'm going to pick her up. We have to go pick up her like visa that's at the office or whatever.
Okay.
Wherever that is.
Yeah.
Like she has, it's not, and then also it's not a visa. It's something else. Can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
But whatever, there's a thing that she
Some
needs for her
official
passport.
document.
It's an official document that she needs for her passport that is like ready to be picked up. That this is just going to be the easiest version that I'm going to get it with her, like go with her and get it. And then we're just going to hang out for the weekend and I don't know what we're going to do. I asked her if she wanted to like go to get a facial or go to a spa. She's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay. Sure. So I don't know. We'll probably just like hang out in the hotel and like watch YouTube videos and stuff. But
Okay.
sounds fun to me.
All right.
Maybe go out to dinner.
That seems fun.
Maybe
You'll meet a Chris Pine.
Chris Pine will
Lookalike?
be staying in my hotel. Last time I was there, I'm not going to lie, Donald Glover was there, guys. I'm just going to say, you know what I mean? So
Love.
Donald is married and happy.
No, I know,
Not
but
that, I wasn't saying that like
You were
because
trying to
he's-
hook up with Donald Glover.
No, I was saying more so that like any celebrity is possible. You never know who's going to pop up in Sweden.
Exciting
is all-
people stay at that
It's
hospital.
like-
Did I say hospital? Hotel.
Yeah, let's not say that.
Well, that sounds fun. Should we talk to our guest, Rana Epting from Move On?
Rana Epting from Move On. Let's talk about some book bands. Oh, kitsch. You've heard us talk about kitsch. We love kitsch. Guess what? You've heard us talk about kitsch before. They have like incredible hair care, skincare,
Self-care products.
self-care products, affordable, literally started by a woman going door to door selling hair ties. That were truly. They've got the
Yes.
heatless satin curling rollers. They've got the kitsch satin pillowcases, the eye masks, the hair caps. They do a lot of cool collabs.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Okay. And so they do have the Barbie by Kitsch collection, which Birdie has already requested that I bring
course.
to Sweden. But you know what else they did? They did they did a Harry Potter one too. That's super cute. And it's like just the owl and like stars and it's just cute. And
nice.
I've been having Cricket sleep on it and it's really helped the curly hair with the knots and not looking so frizztastic in the morning.
I love it. Anything that can make your life easier in the morning, especially with long hair,
Yeah.
you got to do it. And it's so
have to.
reasonable. I sleep on a Kitsch pillowcase too, not because I have particularly curly hair, it's wavy, but because I bleach the shit out of my hair and it's very fragile. So anything that keeps my hair from breaking off like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree,
Yeah.
perfect.
Listen, guys. What Casey is saying is so true. Those satin pillowcases, whether it's like wrinkles are your concern, your hair is sensitive, you've got curly hair, you get a blowout you want it to last a couple days.
Right.
Like the secret is satin pillowcases. I just love Kitsch. I love their products. I love their hair scrunchies. I kind of just like use it all. Also,
There's
I love
shampoo
the-
bars,
Yeah, I was
too.
going to say, I love the shampoo bars, and I also do love the shampoo bars for travel.
Yes.
Because it's just like I don't ever have to worry about stuff spilling.
Right.
My
Right.
suitcase, which is amazing.
Or being accused of trying to transport too many liquids.
Guys, exactly. Right now, Kitsch is offering you 30% off your entire order at mykitsch.com/best. That's right. 30% off anything and everything at mykitsch, kitsch.com/best. One more time for the people in the back, mykitsch.com/best for 30% off your order. June shine, June shine, June shine. Okay, here's the deal. June Shine now makes canned cocktails, guys. We're talking margaritas, vodka sodas, rum cocktails made with premium ingredients that taste amazing, have no added sugar. I'm going to say it again. They have no added sugar.
Most canned cocktails do have added sugar, so that's why I've been reluctant to try them. But June Shine, thank you. I feel like these are made just for me.
I feel like they're made for me, Casey. So do you want to fight about it? But
We can share.
listen, it's very light and refreshing. It's easy when you're like, oh, I'd like a cocktail, but I don't want to spend the time like doing all the work to make
Right.
one. You know what I
Right.
mean? Just a little at-home happy hour moment made easy by June Shine. They're just insanely delicious and made with only real premium ingredients. Unlike a lot of alcoholic beverages, June Shine is very transparent about every ingredient that they put in their products, which I am a fan of.
We appreciate it.
They have a margarita pack, guys, 4 different flavors: spicy, mango, tropical, and lime, all made with high quality tequila. There's passion fruit vodka soda and a classic vodka mule, which is delicious. Plus, they have an all new vodka soda variety pack that has 4 brand new flavors. Come on. And they've got Mai Tais.
I'm
And they've
excited
got-
about. I want to get a 4-pack of Mai Tais to keep summer going for a little while longer.
You could do that. You could do that. I believe in you. And if you can't choose and you just are like having people over, whatever, or you want to have them on hand in case like people do come over and you don't know what people want to drink and you don't have to have like giant bottles of alcohol that you don't drink. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I
no
don't
full
need to buy
bar needed.
No, they have a mixed pack and you can just keep them. And then somebody shows up and you're like, oh, great. I can make you a mule. Sure. I got you. I got a Mai Tai for you coming right up. Okay. So the leading canned cocktail is margarita with 27 grams of sugar. And there's no nutritional facts on the packaging. And not only do we think you don't really need 27 grams of sugar to make a delicious margarita, I know you don't.
Right.
June Shine made one with just 6 grams of sugar, which is all from the real ingredients that they use, like orange and lime juices. And that's why it tastes the best with 0 added sugar. Guys, June Shine can be found in over 10,000 stores across the country. It's available at all the retailers you're already visiting for groceries and alcohol and other things like Whole Foods and Target, Ralph's, Vons, Albertsons, Kroger, Wegmans, Total Wine, Bevmo, Safeway, and more. But listen, we've worked out a special offer for our listeners. At any store, you can buy 1 June Shine package and get the second for only a penny. What?
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's like a $12 to $20 savings in value. We recommend trying their best-selling variety packs. It's a great way to try all of the flavors and, like we said, stock up the cabinets for visitors. Go to juneshine.com/busy, and then you text them a photo of your receipt, and they will Venmo you immediately. What? It's that easy. That's Juneshine, JUNESHINE.com/busy. So, guys, we're just very lucky today to be joined by Rana Epting from moveon.org. because I feel like there's a lot of things currently happening in this country that could use our attention and our motivation and activation to help with. And one of them is this banned book situation, which is, I mean, to me, like so many of these things, such a distraction, such an actual, just a distraction, trying to get people like whipped up about a thing in order to distract them from the real nightmarish things that these politicians are doing. Although not to underplay the banning of the books, because, you know.
Yeah, that's a nightmare too.
It's a nightmare. I mean, once you start limiting what people have available to them in terms of what they can read and what they can know about, well, guys, it's not good.
That's fascism.
That's fascism. Rana, you are going to talk to us a little bit about Artists Against Book Bans, and there's like a banned bookmobile tour.
Yes, we have a lot of exciting things going on. So first of all, thank you for having me. So I'll talk about the bookmobile tour, if that's cool. I mean,
Yeah, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this started a few months ago. Well, first of all, I'll say the Republicans have been losing their minds for a while now, and we've seen book bans just skyrocket all throughout this country. I think they started this last year or maybe a couple years ago, along with all of their efforts to politicize our schools, basically, and education and what we're teaching our kids. And I think for a long time, I don't know how you guys were relating to it, but I was just stunned. They're actually banning books? What? And so...
Well, I felt like I was sort of like, yeah, I think I was stunned, but I also thought like, well, surely this won't go very far.
Right. And
surely this won't, it'll just be like, they're saying it's rhetoric, like so much of it, but it's not actually going to happen.
Yeah, no. And now it has. I mean,
and it has.
Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida is like the book ban king. I think he has like over 500 books in the state of Florida have been banned. I mean,
yeah, well, friends of the pod know, our listeners, that my dear friend Abdi Nazemian has a YA book that was banned in Florida and in Texas and a few other places, and
my
had
friend
a really
Alan Katz, who was one of my fellow writers on the Rosie O'Donnell show, has a book that's been out for years, Take Me Out of the Bathtub. It's like little parody songs. That's been banned in Katy, Texas.
Oh my God.
It's about taking a bath.
Yeah,
like it's
baths are bad.
It's about like I've been in the bath too long. I don't know what the basis of that banning would even be. I guess I'm not even going to bother.
I don't know.
It's disrespectful, or who knows? Who knows?
I mean, my favorite book as a kid, A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein, that's banned.
Wow.
I know. I mean, so I guess the point
is The Bluest Eye banned by Toni Morrison?
Yes. Catcher in the Rye, Fahrenheit 451. A lot of just books that were actually required reading for.
I was going to say, Bluest Eye was like required senior year of high school, my public high school.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the point is it's happening everywhere. And it's usually, 100% led by folks within the Republican Party that are banning these books, sometimes against the will of parents and educators in that area. And Move On members just, are millions of folks across the country, just regular people who are on our email list, and they had enough. And we tested this concept of what if we created a banned bookmobile and took it across the country and hand out banned books to people, and it just caught fire. Our folks were super excited about it. They donated hundreds of thousands of dollars. We got a van and we slapped some bookmobile stuff on it, and we ordered tons and tons of books, and we went to 14 states earlier this summer, and we're going out to more states in October during Banned Book Week. And I'll say, I've been doing organizing for a really long time, especially during the Trump years, and this is the most hopeful resistance type tactic I've ever seen. Like parents, teachers, kids, librarians, bookstore owners just swaths of people in every community that we've stopped have come so excited. Thank you for doing this. I can't believe the Republicans are up to this. I've started to lose hope, and I saw the banned bookmobile come through my town, and I got super excited, and I had to come. And so it's just a celebration of all of these different perspectives that we're taking across the country, and we're trying to shed light on what Republicans are trying to do in this country, which is to ban books. And none of us, and the vast majority of Americans, are against this.
And Rana, I'd love to talk a little bit about how we even got here, because it seems to me like a thing that Busy and I talk about all the time is like, people tend to focus on presidential elections, big elections, and they get frustrated when things don't change quickly enough. And we're always trying to beat the drum for, you really have to pay attention to all elections, your local elections. And so this is happening because Republicans have had a really successful grassroots local election movement, and they're putting people on school boards who are able to make these determinations. Correct?
Yeah. I mean, I think where we're all so excited we won at the federal level, and we booted Donald Trump out of office, and Democrats had the Senate and the House and the White House. We're starting to focus on what bills can we pass that actually help people. Republicans were evilly wicked and smart, and said, okay, well, we're going to contest for power at the local level before we could get a handle of it. I mean, there's a lot of great organizations doing work at the local level. Run for Something is one of them, and they recruit and run candidates at local office. But I mean, Republicans just got this head start and took over and they were able to manufacture these conspiracy theories that really ginned up their base and got them upset about things. And like you said, Busy, created a distraction born out of conspiracy theories and politicized schools and teachers and librarians. I mean, 2 years ago, could you imagine that was ever going to happen? I can't. So,
as if teachers weren't already dealing with enough, like between COVID and being seriously underpaid. Now we're in a position where like our teachers, like sometimes their lives are being threatened because they're like going against some perceived belief system that it's insane. It's insane. And then we wonder why good people don't want to be teachers.
I know. And we have a shortage as it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems a little bit, to me, so much of what has been happening in these states has been against the will of the majority of people who live in the states. And I do know that I have heard from some people, like, especially, because I do obviously a lot of work around the abortion space and access. I do sometimes occasionally, I'm just going to say it, guys, I do sometimes hear from people that surprise me. Oh, well, that's what they got for living in that state.
I know.
You know what I mean? Or some
too.
version of that, like,
right.
Where it's like a little bit like, well, shrug emoji, I don't live there.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, not only is that just deeply
It's gross, guys.
Unempathetic and gross. But specific to the book banning, I mean, education on the whole in our country should be everyone's concern, because you want people to have access to information, and you want especially kids to be able to know things.
And you want the people who are voting and that you live among in your communities to be educated and understand different perspectives, and that not all life is not lived just in my image alone. And
right.
This is exactly what they're taking away from us, is our ability to understand one another and to thrive together despite our differences, actually embracing our differences. I mean, they're banning books about race, about gender, about, I don't know, bathing. But like,
right.
But I mean, actually, the more serious point, they're banning books that are really about telling stories about different perspectives of people in this world. And there's so many, like, I just think about the books I read when I was younger, like The Color Purple. I had no idea life was like this for some people, and
Right.
how it opened my eyes and made me a better human and a better able to understand differences. And that's what they're taking away from us.
Right. And you can already, I mean, Busy and I have talked about this. I feel like we're already seeing the effects of that sort of insular view and isolation of not understanding how someone who lives differently from you, someone from a different culture, someone from another place, how they live. I think we're already seeing it where people, well, because we're all online, we see it all the time. Someone makes a comment and, you're just like, oh, it is so obvious that you have never met anyone or known about anyone who wasn't like you, who wasn't anything like you. It's really scary. It's really scary. And then I love a good conspiracy theory. So, I mean, I think my conspiracy theory is they're trying to harm education, public education, so that they can then say public education is failing, not worth spending money on. They'll privatize education, and then it just becomes another business, and then they're just going to train everyone to be workers and to work for their other businesses when they eventually leave the education system that has been privatized. Does that sound plausible?
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory at all.
I don't think
we've
it's
known
conspiracy
that
theory.
Republicans have been against public education for as long as I've been alive. So this is a great formula for doing it. But I will say, as depressing as all this is, I am massively hopeful. And
Okay, this is what I want. This is actually exactly why I wanted you to come on the podcast because I got to tell you something. I have not been hopeful. I have not been. I've lost it. And so here you are. Tell us why we're going to be hopeful.
I have a lot of reasons. Look, there are two sides of every coin, but the hopeful side of this coin is the vast majority of people in this country are not for book bans. They think it's absurd. And the vast majority of people in this country support librarians and educators, and they trust them. And when
Also, by the way, guys, like, try getting your kids to read any fucking book.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's part of what's so ludicrous about this conversation. It's just like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, any book my kid wants to read, I'm like, great, read it. Like, it's not easy. You know what I mean? Like, they're acting as though, like, I don't know. It's insane. It's truly insane. But
it also just doesn't make any sense because kids with access to things, like I think that I was like the product of benign neglect. I was left to read whatever I wanted. And a lot of it was like my dad's Stephen King novels that he left like lying around the house. I read.
Also, you try to keep something away from kids and they just want to read it more.
Yeah.
The books that are banned are the books that we should read. And so the other hopeful thing is like the Republicans are overreaching on all of this.
Right.
They're banning abortion. They're banning books. They're whipping up conspiracy theories around COVID. I mean, they're completely out of touch with the typical person in this country. And they're losing elections because of it. They may have garnered a lot of power at the local level, but federally, they lost in 2018. They lost in 2020. They lost in 22. They were supposed to gain all these House seats, and they narrowly gained the House, and Democrats kept the Senate. And then look at local races that we've seen, race after race, especially where abortion is on the ballot. Like, they have not gotten the memo that this stuff is not popular, and they keep doing it. We saw Republican state legislators in Missouri this week literally burn books. They had like a burn book banning, or sorry,
oh my God.
a banned book burning. Yeah. And they're just talking to this small base, which unfortunately has gotten a hold of the Republican Party.
Right.
But it's not popular. And this can't last. And I think it's the dying gasp of a desperate minority. And I really think we can win back power.
Well,
the main thing is apathy. The main thing is people feel like it's too much. It's too much. It is a lot.
This is what I was going to say. Like, part of what I feel like is a piece of all of it is that while the Republicans these extreme bans and on rights, trans rights, abortion rights, book bans are, sort of kowtowing to a small amount of people. The thing that I feel like is worth all of us looking at and remembering is that they're real loud. And and to be honest with you, a lot of the rest of us aren't.
Yeah.
Like,
we're too nice.
And the truth is, like, this is like a perfect example of, like, we're in a media hellscape in this country. This is it is a true, like, ripped from an HBO drama that makes you, like, roll your eyes and you hate watching, but you keep tuning in every week. Like, view of what a media is, and they go to whatever the squeakiest, loudest wheel is. That's just the truth. Yeah. They just do. And they just declare that that's the thing. And it's been really frustrating working in some of these spaces, especially like the abortion space for so long, where it was like, no one wanted to talk. No one wanted to be loud. And the other side, even though it was like, the minority of people were just super loud, really aggressive, very scary in their rhetoric.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with the book banning too. They're scary in their rhetoric. Yeah. Like, the things that DeSantis says are terrifying. I do just want people to remember and mobilize and realize that, like, be fucking loud, dude. Be loud, because the truth is everyone's on your side. Like, and that tiny amount of people that aren't, so what? Fucking block them. Block them on Facebook. Block them on Instagram, like Twitter, whatever. Like, just, we need more people to be loud about this stuff. Wouldn't you say?
I totally agree. And I think the most challenging part of that is being the first.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, guys, I had to get on stage. I had to get on stage at the Global Citizen thing just now, like just this past weekend. And now, obviously I've talked about my abortion publicly for years now at this point, but it's like in front of like 35,000 people and then like millions of people watching, streaming, and just say, when I was 15, I had an abortion. Without bodily autonomy, there's no equality. Guys, we got to do this.
Yeah.
It's not, I had no idea. It's not easy. It's not like the thing that I'm like, what I would love to do today?
Well, talk about my abortion.
You know what else too, Busy, is, and Rana, tell me if I'm off base here, but I think that they're really crafty doing things around education, books for children, even drag queen story hour, because that really is hitting parents, and not everyone's a parent. So automatically, like, the people that are being affected by this is smaller, because people without children maybe aren't paying so much attention to this. But then they hit you where you are most protective. Every parent is deathly afraid that something bad is going to happen to their kids. So whether it's that they're getting you to think like, oh, maybe this well-vetted teacher is not appropriate to be teaching my kid, or like, maybe this book is harmful. Not just that, but also, like, they're being scary. They're showing up in militarized dress and protesting loudly, as you said, Busy. And it's fucking scary if you're trying to walk your kid into a library drag queen story hour to see a bunch of, like, thugs in paramilitary gear patrolling and being, so I feel like it's so crafty, because it's like one of those things where you might just be like, you know what? This is what I believe. I think this is wrong, but I am actually going to just stay home today because I don't want to put my kid in that position or whatever.
Right.
So it's fucking clever and disgusting.
I don't disagree with that. I also think they're exploiting our ignorance. I think especially around the trans and drag story hour issues. I think the life of trans people in this country is probably the least explored and understood of all the folks that are marginalized. I mean, I don't want to put people in order of priority, but I do think that is an area that most people don't fully understand. And so if you don't fully understand the life of a trans person, then you're more likely to otherize them. And they weaponize that so well. And that's exactly what's in the books that they're banning. They don't
Right.
want people to understand what it's like to grow up trans and live in this world that way. They don't want to humanize that. And so
Right.
instead, they're exploiting our ignorance, pitting us against one another. When I actually think some of these, like even I live in a very progressive county. We have had protests in my county of parents that want an opt out for LGBTQ books at our public schools, and I really think, I have a hard time believing that those folks don't want our children to be safe. I feel like it is very exploitive around the ignorance of different people's lives, and it's
Right.
just super frustrating.
It's fear. They fell prey to like fear of something that they heard or something that they imagine, that if they did have access to, say, these books that are being banned, or if they cared to look into it, would be that fear would be instantly allayed, I would think.
Yeah. So it is super important.
Yes.
Amidst all of this, it's like, what can you do about it?
That's right.
I have thought about going to those drag story hours myself and protesting back. I'm not sure that's how you win. I think the way we win is celebrating what's in these books, and
Yes.
and if from a joyous place, from a place of pride, continuing to create spaces where we continue to educate one another about the contents that they're trying to ban. I think that is super important, reminding people there's nothing to be afraid of here, and that we're going to celebrate it, and creating a space for people to come together. And then I also just want to mention, Busy, you were part of 175 authors, actors, musicians, directors, songwriters, other artists that signed an open letter against book bans. That's super important, because the more people come out about this and get loud in whatever ways they can, we are creating permission for other people to join us and say, okay, I did agree. I didn't know there were people out here that also agreed with me that this is all bananas. And this is not how our society needs to be. So for that, I'm hopeful, and I'm really grateful for all the artists that have come out and really talked about this and used their platform to talk about it.
And so what can people who are listening, our listeners, get very motivated. They love to activate and do things and help. So what can what's the best way that somebody listening who maybe lives in a place where books are not being banned?
Yeah. Well,
how can they show up? How can they help?
first of all, if you think you live in a place where books are not being banned, you very well might be wrong. I was wrong. We don't have active bans in my county, but we have people that are advocating for them. So I think it's super important to get involved in your local school board meetings. Go to those meetings. Go with a friend. Even if you're not a parent, go to those meetings. They're public. They advertise them. Because you know who is going to those meetings? The people that are advocating for book bans. And you know who's not? The rest of us, because we're off having a nice time with our family and not being weird.
And not being weird.
Not being weird. The other thing people can do, they can go to moveon.org/banned bookmobile, and they can follow where our banned bookmobile is going. We're going to be going to South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia next. We'll be on the road with Pod Save America and Crooked Media doing some podcasts. So, we're continuing to go out there. If you're in those areas, join us, and you can sign up on that site to get invited.
That's so great. I love that. Okay. Yeah. And also, guys, you just gotta I know. We're all tired. I know. I'm tired.
But the holidays are coming. Buy some banned books for the kids in your lives.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. That is a freaking great idea.
I think that's a great idea too, Casey.
Buy them for yourself too, because
Maybe
we
start
want
a banned book club.
Banned book club, banned book fair. We've talked about, Busy and I, our fantasy is to hold an adult book fair. So maybe we can have an adult banned book fair.
That would be fun.
I just think you look into these books because you want to know what they don't want you to know, right?
Yeah.
Like there's never been a better advertisement for every single book that's been banned.
Yeah,
Like-
I'll say some of them. So we said The Bluest Eye, The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman, that incredible poet who gave a speech at Joe Biden's inauguration.
Yeah.
I Am Jazz, Mouse by Art Spiegelman, Out of Darkness by Ashley Hope Perez, The 1619 Project, like all of these and more.
It'd be easier to have a list of
Abdi's-
not banned books, I feel like, at this point, because they have a problem with literally everything. And what is that book that's not banned? The Bible should probably, the Bible has some pretty spicy stuff in it.
There are some places, there are some people that have been, like more liberal people who have gone then to their school boards and said, well, you have to, this is a book that has,
Very inappropriate.
very inappropriate things. You need to ban this book from your, and they people have done that. I mean, yes, but I don't want to try to beat them at their own game. I want to just have the game be over. You know what I mean? I'm done with the fucking game of what this is.
Yeah.
Because they're using not just our lives, but the future of our country and their little lives, and as they're weaponizing kids and what they're able to learn. And dude, it's not headed to a great place, is what I'm going to say.
And you want your kids to be able to think for themselves because these people are playing a long game that is going to affect your kids in the future. You want your kids to be able to have their own ideas about right and wrong.
And also, all these motherfuckers, I mean, have they been on TikTok? Have they been on Discord? Do they know what their children are watching on YouTube? Have they sat with their kids and watched their favorite YouTube or Discord game streamers and heard what they have to say? Because I bet you they haven't.
That's how you know they're full of shit.
They're full of shit. It's just, I mean, obviously, we all know the hypocrisy, right, is rife. But just, God, makes me so insanely angry. But I'm going to try to have hope. Rana?
Gotta have, what other way is there?
If Rana's hopeful, I'm hopeful. And she gave us...
Because Rana, this is your job. You do this.
Well,
so you're really faced with it.
To be honest, it is, I have days where I'm like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah, I get it.
The point is, what other way is there to live but to continue to do your part and do what you can to make this place something that we all deserve? And I can't do that without continuing to tap into hope. It's a miserable existence if you're only in apathy, And so it is a choice that you make every day when you wake up. How am I going to live this? How am I going to do this? And I think just getting out there and talking to folks that come out through this tour has been re-inspiring for me. I mean, you have bookstore owners that we've seen in North Carolina and, in Illinois, and they have whole banned book sections, and they're selling these. And, when we go, we buy out all their banned books and we hand them out to folks. And it's a remarkable reminder that we do have people that want to build a community for everyone. But we're just really spread out. And so finding those moments where we can come together it's like church in a way.
Well, we need a third space, guys. May as well be the banned book mobile.
Yeah.
Library.
Come on in.
Come on down.
It's warm.
Well, that's amazing.
Nice.
Everybody look out for the banned bookmobile in your town. Please go visit it. And if it's not coming near you, that's okay. You can still participate by making contribution. And that's so great. You've made me feel more hopeful today, Rana. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And thanks for having me, because it warms my heart to know that there are folks that just want to have the conversation, that have a platform and are leveraging it for good.
Listen, I'm sometimes motivated by anger. But the thing that sustains is the hope that it can change and it can be better. And apathy is where everyone loses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
So it's just not an option, I think.
Yeah. And we just have to keep beating them in elections.
Yes.
I'm
Showing
ready
up,
for it.
but it's
over
like
and
showing
over
up.
again.
But it's like showing up, being loud consistently, you know, and being loud. And also that thing you said about like showing up at those school board meetings, at like, you know, even city council meetings, like all of those things are super important because the real extremist sides motivate and coordinate, and they do show up.
Yeah.
Now they're the minority, but they like make the time and the space to show up. So like we have to also now show up. It's not,
Yeah.
we can't not.
And one thing I
turns.
would like to add, I feel like our side, I think they get people to show up, and they get people to show up feeling hysterical, to be honest. They're very loud, as you said, Busy. I think on our side, we do a lot of telling people, calm down. It's not that bad. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? Like you've said a million times, Busy, we're juggling a lot of things, but it's pretty fucking serious when they're taking books out of schools. So it's worth getting passionate about, whether you have
And firing
kids.
librarians.
Yeah.
And
So, you know,
teachers. Yeah.
I'm not saying like lose your mind. I'm not saying show up somewhere unhinged. I'm saying like go there with the passion and the anger that it deserves, that it warrants. Like, let's stop telling each other to calm down about everything, because
Right.
like the time has passed. It's time
That time has passed.
to be less calm about
Yeah.
about some of these boundaries that they're pushing.
And if there's a man in your life that tells you to calm down, tell him he can stay the fuck home.
You know, I also remember there's some like glimmers of hope way beyond just like advocacy. Like we have in Illinois and California, both those governors signed bans against book ban laws recently.
Nice.
So you can't even ban books in Illinois and in California for racial content or LGBTQ content. And then I think this also happened in Hoboken, New Jersey. They declared themselves a moratorium against banned books. So I just think like legislators can do stuff. We
can
can
do
push
that.
them to do
on the
stuff.
other direction. Yeah, on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know too.
Yeah.
Good to keep that in there. Ask your local officials when they're running for office what their plans are.
Yeah,
to help
ask
ensure.
them now before it
Ask
becomes
them
an
now.
issue.
Yeah.
Put that ban in place now. Put the
Yeah,
ban
exactly.
against book bans in place now, just in case anyone gets
I
any
think
big
that's really
ideas.
smart, actually. I think it's incredibly smart. It's like a safe haven for books.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are laws already written up. They can just take a look at the Illinois, California laws and create their version for their state. And
Okay, so guys, see, look, we've got things we can do. We can be hopeful in that way too. Well, Rana, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you out on the tour.
Have a
Yeah.
great day. Yeah, be safe driving that bookmobile.
thank you very much. I'll honk the horn for you both.
Thank,
Thank you.
Well, this is where I go. Carry you mud on my feet. Carry you my, you are neat.
That might be, that's the best one in a long time.
Sustainable sneaker company, sneaker company. You're welcome. Guys, you're welcome. Cariuma are very comfortable, cozy shoes. We love them.
This episode is brought to you by Cariuma. Thank you, Cariuma. They're the cool, sustainable sneaker company with old school style.
Listen, I'm going to say it. I'm glad that they're advertising on our podcast and we can tell you guys about them. But I'm also just glad that they sent me a pair of shoes because I love them and I wear them all the time. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
like, it's like I'm thrilled that I get to tell you guys that it's like they look like kind of like skate shoes, like old school skate shoes.
Yeah.
That I used to wear when I was in high school.
Right.
Everything old is new again. I'm just going to say it.
I like them so much. Got more for myself, and then also have given them to friends for gifts because I like them so much. So
Wait,
that's like a
same.
huge endorsement.
I gave a pair
for me.
to Sarah Bareilles. She wears them all the time, guys.
Yes.
Like, all the time. Kirsten has a pair.
Love it.
I got a pair for Kirsten because she really liked. I have these green ones that I wear. They're so cute, and I wear them like with dresses, and it just like feels like I'm not even trying, but it's like
Right.
so, they look so cute.
Yes, I like the Oka is the model that to me looks the most like an old school skate shoe. And I'll wear it with really nice, like wide-legged pants and sort of dress down a suit a little bit. I just love them. They're so great. And they come in amazing colors.
They also do fun collabs as well. We love a fun collab.
Yes.
We love a fun collab. They did one with Pantone.
Yes, I will buy anything Pantone. I'm such a sucker for it. So obviously I have some nice magenta shoes from Pantone. I also have some Peanuts collab sneakers.
You do? You got the Peanuts collab?
Yeah, they're so cute. I love Peanuts.
That is so cute. I'm just kind of a fan all the way around. I just highly recommend these shoes. Plus, all of the things that that we care about, right? Like,
Right.
they're breathable, cotton canvas, but Cariuma is a B Corp and has a dedicated reforestation program based in the Brazilian rainforest. Come on. Their co-founders, David and Fernando, both grew up there. So it's very close to their hearts. And for every pair of sneakers sold, Cariuma plants 2 trees. They've already planted over 2 million trees to date. They're just kind of incredible. I love them. We
Yeah.
love them.
And they ship free and fast in the USA. They also offer worldwide shipping. All our international listeners love to be able to buy something that we advertise on the podcast, and they aren't always able to. These you can buy. They have 60-day free returns, and they deliver right to your front door using a single box recycled packaging. The packaging is really smart.
I know the packaging is really smart.
I get
agree.
excited for packaging, and theirs was worth getting excited over.
I don't get excited about packaging, but I noticed that this packaging was unique and cool and single box, because I hate when I fully especially hate when I order a pair of shoes online and they show up in a box. I'm like, guys, what are we doing?
Don't need it.
We don't need it. This is too many boxes. Okay, guys, for a limited time, Busy Phillips is doing her best. Listeners can get an exclusive 15% off your first pair of Cariuma sneakers. It's back to school season, guys. Even if you don't have kids, it's time to get your back to school shoes going. Go to Cariuma, CARIUMA.com/best to get 15% off. That's CARIUMA.com/best for 15% off only for a limited time. Oh my God. Casey, can I tell you something?
Tell me.
I'm not getting my period right now. I'm ovulating, but but a couple of weeks ago when I got my period, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do these mixers things because I just like whatever was like, I'm going to just do it consistently. Like I had tried it before because I was like, tastes good. Okay, fine. I can like do, like I like it. I like what they're going for here.
Yeah.
It made such a difference.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really did. So, Mix Hers is sponsoring our podcast. So, simply what it is, Mix Hers is a nutritional supplement that helps balance hormones. You basically just like mix it into your water.
It's really easy.
It's super easy. I put it in my big water bottle, my reusable water bottle, shake it up, and the PMS stuff was like real because I'd been having like a lot of like my boobs always get really sore when I get my period.
Right.
And I don't know, it really worked. The one that I was using was called Her Time. Her Time.
I like that.
But it's really kind of amazing. And the ingredients nourish the root cause of hormonal imbalance and eliminate the need for additional PMS aids. Like the CEO was looking for relief from postpartum stuff, period stuff.
Right.
And she went to a holistic health practitioner named Cody Sanders, who created Mixers, first supplement to help balance hormones naturally. here's what I think is really interesting. Like, I've done research myself. I've like seen holistic people and they're like, okay, so you want to get this supplement and this supplement. Again, it's that thing, right? Where it's like, okay.
You're already not feeling great. So to then get a list and a recipe is like the worst case scenario. You're not doing it.
It's just, I'm just not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it.
Right.
They have now, Mix Hers has a dozen products.
Right.
That support women's wellness naturally, pre and postnatal supplements, menopause support, libido booster. Oops.
We all need it. And they have a quiz. So to figure out what you need, just take their quiz to ensure you get matched with the products designed for your unique wellness goals.
The one that I tried in this last cycle, and it really, really did great things for me.
I'm so glad. I'm glad it made a difference for you.
There are no artificial flavors, colors, or added preservatives. All of the products are gluten-free, 100% natural ingredients. So why don't you try it out? Join the thousands of women who've discovered feel-good freedom through balanced hormones. Head to mixhers.com/best and use promo code BEST at the checkout for an additional 10% off your order. Mix Hers rarely gives out discounts, so 10% is the best offer you're going to find. But remember to use our promo code BEST for that additional 10% off. I do feel like maintaining hope is the thing that we got to keep in the forefront.
Yeah, I mean, I just remembered, like, as she was talking, I was thinking about the strike and how long it lasted for the writers and how it's ongoing for the actors and how everybody has probably felt pretty hopeless. I was kind of bummed when the WGA announced that an agreement had been reached, and I saw a lot of things from people kind of like chastising people for celebrating that, like, you know, saying like, well, we have to see it first. And like, I know. We all know that we all have to see it and we have to look it over and we have to vote on it and agree to ratify it and everything. But like, let people have hope. It's been a long time. And so the fact that like the people that we've entrusted to negotiate this for us felt like this is a good enough deal to put before us. And like, yes, we have to wait until we see it, but just like let people be a little bit happy that there was some movement, you know?
Oh my God.
And
I was so excited.
Me too. It was kind of surreal. Yeah. And then I put it on my Instagram, like my email came and I put my email on Instagram and so many people were like, I saw it from your Instagram. And so I was just like, yeah, I want everyone to see it and have that surreal moment. Like, oh, finally something fucking happened. Cause they met 4 days in a row. They were able to make some progress.
Fucking studio heads.
It's a lot.
And wait, I just want to say for Hollywood break for people who are listening, who are like, have been following sort of the strike, but don't really understand. There are a lot of issues. There are some crossover issues between SAG and WGA. But the reason why WGA was, I'm not going to say more important, but like it's a more complicated deal, and what WGA was asking for required a lot more, honestly, negotiation and like figuring out of how to structure the deals than SAG will take. So like it was always more important for WGA to go first.
Right.
I mean, they've been striking longer, but also their deal, like my feeling as a SAG member is that if the deal's good enough for the WGA and their negotiating committee, that SAG will be able to make a deal that will do what we need it to do.
Right.
But because I was seeing a lot of people saying like, wait, why WGA? I don't understand. And how do you know that SAG is going to be figured out? And the truth is because the things that are like real sticking points are real sticking points for both of our guilds. And then on top of it, WGA has a lot of other specifically for television writers,
Right.
have a lot of other issues that are specific to television writers. Like they don't even really like Mark. Like honestly, a lot of the stuff like doesn't even fucking affect Mark at all.
Right. Right.
Because he's just a screenwriter and it's like that,
Right.
it's just, but it was complicated. And so,
Right. And
I
also
feel
we have faith
certain.
that it'll work out because like one job doesn't exist without the other,
for sure.
So like the actors have to get a deal because our job doesn't exist without actors. Actors don't exist without writers, and also executives don't exist without either. So, they're free to go be executives of some other type of business, but the time has come to recognize that like the people that do the work have to be fairly treated and fairly compensated. So there's that. So anyway, I just think it's important to let people have little bits of hope and to celebrate small wins. And so I'm so glad that Rana was talking about like having hope and that they're doing this thing to celebrate other kinds of writers who, these people aren't rich. These authors aren't rich. So I really do mean it about like buying their books for kids in your life.
I think it's such a smart idea. I'm going to totally do that. I didn't even think of that as... that's just so smart, Casey, of course, because you're the smartest.
A big box of banned books. What else is going on?
I don't know, lots of stuff, I feel like. What about
You're
you?
very busy. You have a lot of stuff going on.
I've had stuff. I've had a lot of stuff.
Wait, people keep asking a question about an ACLU event that you're doing in Ohio. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Can you
That's
give
right.
information about that? Because that's been a frequently asked question.
Well, here's why I haven't brought it up yet. I'm trying to cover the zit I picked last night because it's bothering me on Zoom. Why did I pick it, guys?
You're just having a picky night.
You know who I am. Okay, here's part of the reason why I haven't, because we were trying to finalize the finalize the details, because also initially I was doing it with America Ferrera, and then her schedule shifted, and then so it was just like complicated because we were just trying to like figure out who else was going to be there, and we wanted to make sure so I don't know if it's all been announced yet, but I reached out to the amazing Amber Ruffin.
Oh, love.
And Amber and her sister Lacey.
Love.
And I are going to be doing this big ACLU fundraising event / like getting everybody activated and ready for this next upcoming election cycle, raising money for the ACLU, because the ACLU fights for all of us. And they're such an important organization now more than ever. And I'm so always happy to support them and show up for them. And I think it'll be a really super fun event. And if you're not a member of the ACLU, highly recommend becoming a monthly donor of, supporting the work that the ACLU does. ACLU stands for American Civil Liberties Union. And that is what they're doing. They're fighting for our civil liberties, for all of them.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's going to be in Ohio. I want to say October 25th.
Yeah.
Or I think it's October 25th or October 24th. I can't remember.
Okay. Well, keep an eye out for October 24th or 25th if you were the persons asking about Busy in Ohio.
But I also love, though, if it was just one person and you just were like, I'm just going to hijack this moment and let's just... like, just we got one email. We got an email asking about this thing. No, but I'm like, listen, like, look, at the end of the day, and I think we said this last election, it's like in 22.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't want to be in some sort of like defending your life situation where they roll back the tape and it's like, I totally could have done something, but instead I was like getting a facial. You know what I mean? Or like, it could have made the difference. Like, you just never fucking know.
You don't know.
That's why you just don't know. That's why like showing up, voting, but also just like showing up, period, is so fucking important. And it's like big things and small things. Like, okay, I went to see Ani DeFranco on Saturday night after the Global Citizen thing. And the Global Citizen thing was like kind of intense and crazy.
It seemed like it.
It was kind of wild. But again, happy to show up, like happy to do it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to be ever thinking like I could have done more, you know? Anyway, this like a woman that, to be honest, I had never met her in person before. Yeah. She is like friends with Michelle. So I've heard about her and I follow her doodle on Instagram because Michelle was like, oh my God, her doodle looks just like Gina. You should follow her.
Right.
And I did. But like didn't even know what she looked like. But she had reached out via the doodle's Instagram to me and was like, oh my gosh, I know from the podcast that you had Ani DeFranco on your podcast. And my friend was I got tickets to see her on Saturday night at Le Poisson Rouge, which is like a very small club here in New York.
Okay.
And she's like, my friend just bailed. Is there, and this was like on like I feel like it was like Thursday. She texted me, or DM'd me. She's like, "Is there any way you'd want to come with?" And I a little bit was like, Kate and I really loved Ani together, and talk about like this is like literally. I don't really have any regrets about the last 5.5 months of when Kate got sick and how I was able to be there for her and her family in that time. You know, I really don't. Like, I feel Christine and I have talked about it. Like, we both feel like we were able to like show up in the most meaningful ways for all of us, you know, like, like it'll never be enough time, right? Like, of course, but a couple of years ago, Ani was playing in Central Park. It was like, I had already moved here. Yeah. And Kate and I were like, oh my God, we should go. And we just didn't fucking do it. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so part of me, when Sheila, that's the woman, asked me if I wanted to go, I was like thinking of that moment. And I was like, fuck, yes, I'm going to go. Also, it was like, you know, it's been a month since Kate passed away. I just thought it would be like, I don't know. I just was like, I just wanted to go. Yeah. So I went and she played like so many old hits, like from the albums that like Kate and I loved together in the 90s and then like early aughts, you know. And it was just so awesome. Like, it was just so, it was really special. Like, it felt really special, you know?
Aww, I love that.
And then she ended the set, or she like did an encore, and the last song she played, we were standing like sort of to the side, you know? At this point, we were like kind of making our way toward the exit, because like, by the way, don't love a huge crowd. I mean, you know, like I get like, you know, whatever. And she played Joyful Girl, which is like this song that I like very much have a connection to Kate with that song, you know? Yeah. And I like took video, because I posted some videos from the concert on Instagram. And I like but I was just doing stories. I wasn't like taking video and then posting it. I was just doing stories. And I did a story of part of the song. And while I was like watching the video, I was like, oh my God, there was like this little like light, like dancing around in the video.
Yeah.
And I literally was like looking, I was like, I kind of like started crying and I was like looking at this video and I like was like, what the fuck? This is so crazy. And then I like posted it to Instagram and the show was over and like we left or whatever. And then we were walking back towards like where we were both headed.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird. The video didn't upload. And then I looked and then it just like the whole thing shorted out and it disappeared.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, well, all right. That was just for me. Now I'm telling the story on the podcast. Sorry, Kate. But I was like, I talked to Christine yesterday and I told her the story. She's like, I love that. I love that Kate was like, no, bitch. It's just for you. But like, it did feel so special and nice. And I was glad that I did it. And glad that I went.
Oh my
Anyway.
gosh. Yeah. I think that's it, right? Go and be glad that you went.
Go and be glad that you went. And like, I don't know. There are very few times in my life where I've been like, ugh, I really regret showing up.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Because even if I'm being honest, even if I have a terrible time, then I have like some story about the terrible time that I had.
Exactly.
And I have something
And everybody
to
loves everyone loves a common enemy.
Exactly.
And sometimes you need like a little bit of like a bad time to like talk shit about it.
Yeah. And you know what's a good time. You wouldn't, if you never had a bad time, you wouldn't know what was a good time.
That's like, there's like a group of friends that I have and they all went to this wedding last year or year or two. I don't know, sometime. What the fuck is time? Who knows? It was probably like 2 months ago. I don't know. But like separately, like 3 friends were like, oh my God, wait, did you hear what happened at the, like, you know what I mean? Like it became this thing, like they ran out of food. Like it was like this whole thing, you know, and everyone, no one could wait to like talk about it. And they're like, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Honestly, it was really fun because then we all got food afterwards. And But like, it was just like so clearly everybody was like so thrilled to have even just like a story, you know?
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, do we want to talk about what we're doing our best at? Because mine is a little bit of a story.
I mean, if this is a fucking bathroom again.
No, the bathroom is so close to being done. So close. It's only been several years, I feel like. But the bathroom's usable. So thank you to everyone for all of your prayers and your good thoughts.
What's the patron saint of bathrooms?
I don't know. I got to look her up and see.
That bitch has really been asleep at the wheel. Okay. What happened? What's your story? What are you doing your best at?
I have also been trying to go and be glad that I showed up, you know?
Yeah, because you've been saying you have a lot of plans. You got a full calendar. That's why you were getting your shots. You were doing the thing.
I went out to sushi with Ashley at a pop-up. And you know I don't like sushi. But she was supposed to take another friend who loved sushi, and that friend got sick and so couldn't go. And I was like, I don't want to waste like amazing sushi on me because I'm not a sushi eater. And she was like, no, I understand, but like no one else can go. So, and it's already happening. So I went and I ate sushi and I was very proud of myself and I didn't act like a baby. And then they were saying like, Casey knows everybody at the sushi dinner. And I was like, no, I don't. And then I ran into like some Bravo celebrities that I knew. But that's not my...
Wait, I forgot to tell you.
What?
After I left, just a real sidebar, Bravo celebrities. Sheila and I like stopped at this place to have a drink after the show to decompress, talk about our favorite Ani moments. And we walked in and this woman was like... Oh, hi, Busy Phillips. I'm from Bravo. Look at us. And I was like, Look at us. Babe, I have no fucking idea who this woman was, what show she's on.
Who
but
was it?
she was on. Is there something that takes place in Paris?
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. But like, let's continue because Bravo. Okay, that just reminded me.
Anyway, so been trying to show up and be glad that I went. And it, as you said, most of the time it's a good time. And, you know, if it's not a good time, you get a good story. So anyway, I went to this gathering that one friend had, and I was mixing and mingling, and I met a couple, but the wife took my number and was like, we should go out to dinner sometime. Like, I get together with girlfriends all the time. We should go out to dinner. And I was like, yeah, I would love that. I have loved talking to you at this party. So definitely let's do that. Now, when people do that, they very rarely actually follow up and invite you to dinner.
Totally.
This person did. And so she invited me to a dinner like days later. And she was like, listen, this is like a birthday thing for another friend. And, you know, no pressure to come, but also it'd be fun. And I was like, okay. And so once I said, okay, I was going to the dinner, you know, I'm going. Like I RSVP'd yes. And even though I was like a little tired, whatever, I must have seemed tired because Matt was like, do you want me to drop you off at your dinner? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, that way, if you want to have a drink or whatever, you don't have to worry about it.
Safe. Yeah, good.
So he's like, where is it? And I told him the name of the place. And he was like, yeah, I know that place. So he drops me off at the place. I go in, I look for my party and for the one person that I know. They're not there. And I'm like, oh no. And then I get a text saying like, we're sitting in the back. And I was like, I already went to the back and I didn't see you. And then I was like, let me just double check that I'm in. It was a place that had two locations and I was in the completely wrong location. So I texted everyone, listen, I'm on my way, but I'm going to be late for a very stupid reason. So I got a Lyft, drove a really far way to the other location. So I wound up being 40 minutes late. But when I went in, I was glad that I showed up because it was this person who I didn't know. It was her birthday and it was supposed to be a party of 10 people and only 5 people had been able to make it for whatever reason. And we were like, it's okay. We're like half the party, but we'll have a good time. We had dinner and I had like my person that I knew a little better because I had met her at the party and then like a handful of other folks that I was just meeting. And people were having drinks and we were eating our dinners and there were appetizers and everything. And it was a good time, you know, just getting to know a group of people. I love it. I'm in for it. So then there was a point I wasn't drinking. So I had like a half a glass of champagne to toast for the birthday. But there was a point where I was like, oh my God, this bill is going to be like out of control because it's like, you know, there's a lot of orders flying back and forth. And I just was like, you know me, cheap. So the bill comes and of course everybody's like, let's just split it 5 ways. And the woman that opened the bill was like, it's not that bad. You know, she was like, it's X amount of dollars. And I was like, okay, so we'll split it 5 ways. And then she said to the server who like, the guy was new and he was very flustered, I think, by like waiting on a party anyway. And people had criticized the way that he poured champagne. And I tried to show him because I don't think he had ever done it, which I hope that wasn't condescending. I just didn't want him getting roasted by people. But so anyway, one of the women was like, split it 5 ways, but I'm going to pay 2 portions of it because I'm going to pay for my friend's birthday. And then everybody else, just give them 1 way. So the guy is like, yeah, I got it. He brings everybody their bill. And everybody's like, is tip included? No, tip's not included because they listed down at the bottom. And when I saw it, I was like, oh shit. Like between the Lyft ride to get here really far and this like splitting the bill 5 ways, this is like a pricey night out. And I'm going to have to buckle it down for a long time and not go to any more party dinners. So I just quickly like saw the amount for a 20% tip, put it and like submitted it. And I was like, I just want to, you know, how sometimes you just sign the bill so fast because you just want to get it out of your sight. Gave it to the guy. Everybody did the same thing. And then we all went on our way. The next day, one of the women texts the text thread, hey, I think we were really overcharged at that restaurant last night because like somebody said the bill was X. And then if I'm doing the math, like it should have been this, but we were charged this. So everybody was like, we need to like straighten this out. We need to figure this out. I was already out like getting my hair trimmed at Fantastic Sam's. Maybe you've heard of it. Because that is where my budget was at after that dinner. And so I figured, well, what the heck? Like, since I'm already like partway there, I might as well drive to the restaurant and just try to straighten it out in person. I didn't want to do a chargeback on my credit card because that like fucks up the restaurant, you know, like they don't get paid for the food that they gave us. And we, you know, we did owe money. So I went to the restaurant and I was like, explained the situation, and I was like, I think it was just confusing because one person asked to pay twice, and so I think he charged the rest of us double. And she was like, yes, let me straighten this out. She gets the like original receipt and then the stack of all the receipts, and she's like, he did like bad math, and you and two other people were overcharged. She was like, if you think this is okay, I'm just gonna give you back $300 and you can split, like maybe you can like Venmo your two friends the money that they're owed. And I was like, okay, great, fine. Sure. So I texted the group chat and I was like,
this all feels like a scam, by the way. I'm sorry, but it just does. Do you know what I mean?
It does. No, but listen. I texted the group chat and I was like, I'm at the restaurant now. They did overcharge us. Here's the way that the hostess said was the best way to handle it. She's going to give me back $300. I'm going to split it and send it, you know, send $100 to each of you and keep $100. Yeah. Yes. And the one person who paid two portions wasn't overcharged. Then I was like, okay. And I texted them all pictures of like the rebate that she gave me, pictures of like the entire total bill. And I was like, great. I got my like $100 back. And that's a lot more palatable. But then I was like just about to go and I was like, oh, actually, is there a way to amend the tip that I left? Because I left 20% on double. And so I would like to fix the tip. And she was like,
right.
I don't know. Really. She was like, I don't know if there really is a way to fix the tip. And she was like, and I mean, also still, like, and I could tell that she wanted to say something, but she didn't want to say it. And I was like, what? And she was like, I mean, also, like, I mean, the total tip wasn't really like, you know, I mean, you can tip whatever. And I was like, what? And then I took the stack and I looked through. Only me and the woman that that invited me to the dinner had tipped anything at all. And so I texted her off the thread like, oh my God, I have to tell you something. And she was like, oh no. So we had, even though I had tipped like
double
and she had tipped double, it still wasn't enough for the whole table. Because there were 5 of us. So she was like, well, now my husband and I are going back there to bring more cash to tip that poor guy. But I was like, maybe it was an oversight. But I do know that we discussed that tip wasn't included. But I was just like, oh my God, are there fully 50% of people pretending that they're writing a tip on a check and get like servers weigh in? Do people pretend that they're doing math for a tip and then submit it? And like, we all think that they're tipping and they're not. Is this a thing?
I mean, that's insane. I'm sorry. I actually think that's like fucking weird. Like I mean, thankfully the lady that invited you was decent, but like, I don't know. I think that would be so fucking weird to find out. Jenny Connor and I always compare because she's like, I'm not having you tip more than me.
Right.
Like we always are like, we're doing the exact same amount. And we do it
that's
the
what
exact
had
same
happened
amount.
Because, okay, so the lady that I knew, I just wrote the amount like automatically. You know how at the bottom it says, if you want to tip 10%, it's this. If you want to tip 15, it's and I automatically chose 20 and it came out to like 37, like 85 or whatever. And that's what I wrote down. And then I was like, oh no, she gave 40, like to my left. I was like, she gave 40 and I felt terrible about it. So I wound up leaving like cash to make it up to 40. But
little did you guys fucking know.
But
other
I'm sure
bitches
those
are
people
like-
they never expected that I'd go back and look through the receipts, like see the actual receipts. And I thought the hostess was so nice and she didn't want to like tell me, but also like had to know. I don't know. Does this happen? Servers, tell me.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure
are
people.
you-
I'm also sure that people don't tip at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
are you a person who pretends to calculate a tip, pretends to write down an amount, and then passes in your... I've had... One time I forgot to leave a tip. I forgot to write a tip in, and the person did, like, follow me out, like, the server. It was in New
Wow.
York City, and she was like, was there something wrong with your service? And I was like, no, it was fine. And she was like, oh, okay, because you didn't leave a tip. So I was confused. And I was like, that was an oversight. That was 100% a mistake. But other people must be forbidden from doing that.
I mean, I will say that I do know that like a lot of people are like sort of fatigued by the tipping that's like automatic on things now where it's like it's not, but like at CVS, you know, and then they turn the thing around to you and then you're like, oh, I have to leave a tip for this.
Right,
but
right.
like, you know, I mean, I always tip, obviously, because what am I going to not?
Right, right.
Jesus.
Yeah, of course.
Insane.
Of course.
Who do I think I am? James Corden?
Oh my God.
Thank
Anyway,
you. I'll be here all week.
I was
that's
doing my
fucking
best.
crazy.
I was doing my best. I thought, oh, I'll just go straighten this all out for everybody, and like, and I did.
You were doing
but
your
then-
best being a helper.
but sometimes when you help, it just opens up a can of worms,
Just a can of worms.
like just things that I never would have known, but then I knew.
But then once you know something, you can't unknow it.
You can't
know?
unknow it. You can't unknow it.
That's very, very true. Wow.
But yeah. So anyway, I was trying to do my best, but then it was eye opening. It was an eye opening experience, and also could have been an honest mistake. I don't know. I don't know those people well enough.
Maybe they were drunk.
That's what I mean. Yes.
Maybe who fucking knows? Guys, I don't
And
know.
like I said, it was chaotic. There were like 5
Feels like it
conversations
was
going on.
chaotic.
Yeah, it was chaotic. So anyway, all's well that ends well, but LOL.
But a true lol.
What are you doing your best at?
I don't know. Like, I do think that even though I spent some amount of time on this podcast, like, you know, talking about the internal struggles of my brain and like how I get, like, I'm so hard on myself, whatever. I do feel like I did really try. I have really been trying to like show up, like, when, you know, it was Carrie's 50th birthday and like, yeah, I've been fucking sad and whatever. But I was like, you know what though? If I'm going to go, I'm going to get, like, I truly had to like do like a little bit of like fake it to make it for her party.
Right.
Like I literally put on a skirt that was like, that was wardrobe from Girls Five Eva that I, sorry, guys, I stole it. No, I mean, I did, but I also was sort of gifted it.
Yeah.
But like, I really like, because almost like I had to like, I was like, I'm putting on a costume
Yes.
to go to my friend, because I love Carrie so
to play
much.
a part.
And I want to celebrate her, and I don't want to like be sitting in a corner talking to some person about like my friend that passed away and how hard, and my kid at boarding school and how sad and hard this time has been. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like, that is actually like sort of my inclination in this moment, because that's like what I
Right.
feel all the time.
Right.
But I put on my fucking costume, and BB was with me. Emily was here, and we went with Steph, my realtor, who I met through Carrie, who's friends with
Yeah.
Carrie, and went to the party and fucking like had drinks and danced and like met people and did photo booths and had Carvel and candy and like had fun. Like really was like, even though I was just like, this is not what I was like. Even when I got there, right when I got there, I was all like, it was a huge party, you know, just like her big blowout. She's never had like a huge party for herself like this.
Yeah.
When I got there, I literally almost felt like I was going to fall asleep. Like I was like, have you ever had that reaction from stress?
No, but that is Lincoln's lifelong reaction to a party is falling asleep.
Yes. So for me, like when I get sort of like overwhelmed emotionally or like I just feel like I can't handle a thing, I get like, oh my God, I'm going to fall asleep. I'm like really about to fall asleep. And I truly like felt that thing. Like I was like, I like could put my head down on the bar and fall asleep if in that moment.
Yeah.
But I just was like, in my head, I was like, fucking get it together. You're wearing a skirt that looks like a lampshade. You got to make it to the dancing. Go eat some fucking food. Like, go just get another cocktail. Like, drink some water. Talk to some people.
Oh my God.
And I did. And, like, I really powered through it and had a great time. Like, it really was really fun. Yeah. So that was a thing that I did my best at. Like, you know, even though it was sort of like, because there are certain things that I think that, especially in times of like a lot of stress or grief or change in your life, like I just want to offer this to whoever might be listening. It might not be like actually, you know, you've actually lost someone, but like we all go through times when we're not doing our best.
Right.
That like giving yourself the grace for sure of like, you know what, maybe it's okay that you're not like digging in on this thing right now, or you don't have to go to that like acquaintances like dinner party that you said 2 months ago you were going to go to, but like now in this moment you need to take care of yourself. Like, but at the same time, there are some things where you're like, doesn't fucking, like it actually, this is like where showing up for other people is important, even though you're going through whatever it is that you're going through. Like Carrie is a friend that's been there for me through so many things that it was really important to show up and like show up in a good fucking fun way, you know? And she would have, of course, understood. But I wanted to like show her in my like action and being that like her, like celebrating her was so important to everybody that was there. Right. You know?
And did you wound up like having a little fun?
I totally wound up having a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Good.
And I will say, yeah, at the end of the night, I ended up like talking to some friends that like I haven't. Friends is like maybe a word too big of a designation, but they're like people that I've known for a really long time, and like we were all working the same business, and I hadn't talked to them in so long, and I was like laughing so fucking hard, like could not, like I was just like it was just like we were cracking each other up, like it was just really fun. That was like probable. I mean, and the dancing was really, really fun. Because you know I love to break it down on the dance floor.
I know you do.
I really do.
You really do.
And also, America really loves to break it down on the dance floor.
No, not the United States of America. America Ferrera.
America Ferrera. And her husband really loves to break it down on the dance floor.
Good.
And so many of Carrie's friends breaking it down. And it was just like, that part was very fun. But I get to a point sometimes too with dancing, like at a party or whatever, where I'll go for a run, but then if that DJ shifts to a song that's not for me, then I'm done. I'm like out, and I never can go back.
Kills your vibe.
It doesn't kill my vibe. I'm just like, I've done it. I did it. I danced.
Yeah, that
Now
makes sense.
we're in like an obscure like Depeche Mode remix, and I'm like, I can't. I'm
You
done.
have to stop dancing. The dancing has to end at some point. Otherwise, it's like that fairy tale where the enchanted shoes like kill you,
That is truly unhinged. But also, I do want to say, I really, really was so happy with my like I really felt some like the costume worked.
Yeah.
And I remembered because, this was always my thing, like back in high school, really, that was how I like got myself up and to go to school and get there.
Dopamine dressing.
Dopamine dressing. I dopamine dressed.
They
And
have a name for it now.
I have great fucking clothes. You guys know that. Like I like love my clothes. I have great clothes, but I do think like there was an option of being like sort of more understated for Carrie's birthday that would have been like nice and like probably like more closely, I don't know, age appropriate. What even does that mean? But then I was just like, I saw the lampshade fringe skirt from Girls 5 Eva, and I was like, yeah, this is where we got to be here. We got to be here tonight. This is who we are tonight. And I really feel like I was like, okay, I can be this person. I am this person. I am this person.
Yes.
I just don't really feel like her right now.
Right.
But
you'll be her again.
But I'll be her again.
Her clothes still fit you.
Oh, thank God for that. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, so
Yes.
so that was good. I felt like that was good.
Oh my
I did my
gosh.
best at that. I did my best at like figuring out how to show up for that.
For the occasion.
For my
you
friend,
You
for the
literally
occasion.
rose to the occasion.
I literally rose to the occasion. And same with the next night with the whatever, global citizen thing,
Right.
and then going to meet Sheila at Ani DeFranco, which by the way, I also was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I should just not do this.
That's what I ask myself as I'm going to anything. Literally, when I'm not even in a bad place, I'm like, why am I going here? Why?
Yeah.
What am I doing? But then I like have fun 80% of the time. 80 to 90% of the time, it's great. But
I'm trying to think the last time that I like was like, well, that was a fucking waste of time. I'm trying to think. Like I'm truly like trying to think if I've had one of those moments. I don't think I have. Like I feel like I don't know. I don't think there's really been anything that's like felt so. Maybe that's what like that sort of starts to peel away once you get older, and like is that sense of like obligatory showing up places.
Yeah, or
because
that you didn't get anything out of something.
Or that you didn't get anything out of something. Right. Because right. Like, because as we said, even if you just have a story.
Right. Right. Oh, you know what? I almost texted you late last night, but then I was like, it's late for me. It's super late for her. Yesterday was the 24th anniversary of Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, yeah. It was the 25th, right?
Yeah. I almost wished you happy anniversary, and then I was
It was
like,
only 24, though. Because
I know. I was like, it's not a big enough anniversary. And also, I bet she would appreciate sleeping more than getting this text from me.
Maybe next year for the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
If this podcast is still going, why don't maybe we can do like some sort of little reunion with some of us.
Okay.
Maybe we can get some people on a Zoom.
Maybe
we
making
could do
some
it for
calls.
a charity.
Maybe.
That'd be fun. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about my fucking pottery thing.
Oh my God, your pottery thing.
Crazy.
How much did it go for?
$5,100.
That's amazing.
insane.
I know you would never do this, but I was watching the auction the whole time and seeing like how much people were bidding on your thing versus other people's thing. I was competitive on your behalf. So
Same
I was
with
happy.
Alan.
I was
And
happy
in fact,
you were-
Alan was really wanted me. By the way, they have no skin in this game at all. Like, doesn't know Lena Dunham or like, just doesn't.
Right.
But really wanted my pottery class to beat Lena Dunham's mural for some reason. It was like very important to Alan. And at the end, it ended up going for the exact same amount. But Alan texted me and was like, "But you got more bids." And I was like, "Cool." Like it was. I was like, "Okay, I guess okay." Anyway,
oh
it
my
was funny.
God. That's hilarious. Yes, I was competitive on your behalf and happy that you were having a respectable showing. I know we didn't talk about the pottery class. We didn't talk about how I almost passed out from the hot tub and got lectured as I was passing out.
I mean, there's a lot that we didn't talk about. A lot has happened.
Well, I know. It seems like a lot has happened. It's just been 1 week and yet so much has happened.
It's been like a year of a week.
Yeah.
It really has been a year of a week, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Emily got her hair colored.
Yes.
I talked to Emily into getting her hair colored. Everybody was talking about how she had a moonlighting moment. And we didn't know what that... Oh, that's what I meant. Moonstruck moment. And
But
we
also
didn't know,
maybe moonlighting. Who knows?
and we didn't know what that meant. And then you had to send her the video. And then we watched the video from Moonstruck. And we're like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what happened. She went to the salon, got her gray hair covered. And then she was like, I'm hot. And everybody was like freaking out about it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you and I are going to maybe have some really exciting things to talk about soon.
I know.
Like
I
next
can't-
week, even?
Maybe. Yeah.
Like, I
just
think we
got
might
some-
have it next week.
Maybe. We'll
might be.
see. We'll see.
What do you mean? Stop saying that. Stop
No,
it.
I mean, we'll see when they tell us we can say anything.
I thought it was next week.
I don't know. I just got some emails while we were talking, but I didn't read them, obviously, because
Right.
I just saw the headlines. But we have fun times ahead.
You know what I'm hopeful for?
What?
2024.
Oh, why'd you say it? You're like me, like, at least our roof didn't leak during this hurricane. And Matt being like, you dumb shit. Why did you say that?
I mean,
No, we're right to be hopeful.
I'm allowed to be hopeful. This is if we learned anything
Yes,
today.
I was just saying we have to allow people to
we
be hopeful.
have to be hopeful.
Yes.
I'm going to live in this place. I'm hopeful. I'm going to stay open and hopeful.
Because
and
guess what?
hopeful.
Shit's going to happen the way it's going to happen one way or the
No.
other, whether you
Yes.
lead up to it with diarrhea or being
hope.
stoked. Yeah.
Yeah. And by
So
the way, I've
choose
had
hope.
enough fucking diarrhea.
Choose hope. Stop diarrhea.
Should we make t-shirts? Oh God.
Oh my God. I mean, listen, you can have both. You can be hopeful and have diarrhea. I'm just saying, like,
And I have, historically speaking, I have.
yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I'm looking forward to something else.
Yeah, me too. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. This is
Me too.
This is the year.
This is it. All right, guys. Well,
Guys, we love you.
we love you.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We're also doing something kind of cool tomorrow that I don't want to say in case anything happens, but once it happens, we'll tell you.
I don't know what that is, but okay. Oh, yeah. No, I do. No, I know. I do. It's what my computer's sitting on right now. Just FYI.
All
You know what
right.
I mean?
Okay. Once it happens, we'll tell you that it
Yeah, we'll
happened.
tell you all
but I
about
never
it.
want to tell you before something happens because then
You never know.
God
You
forbid.
never know.
All right. We love you
Guys,
and we'll
we love
talk to
you.
you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh no.